Time for us to get started, so thank you all for being here. This is a terrific cross-section of people interested from various angles, from social service angles, from CPS leadership angles, network level, school level. The funding community is here. It's exciting to see this many folks here gathered around basically what we're going to say is a very complex problem of practice, and we'll say more about that in a few minutes. All of this is consistent with a commitment that we made 18 years ago at UIC, and the commitment was to try to answer the following question: what does it take for a higher ed institution to work with a school district to prepare principals who can be successful in the highest need schools in a district, and what does it take to do that at scale, not just once in a while? But one of the things we started to worry about is, in a school system that's 85% low income and 85% black and brown students, give or take roughly, what counts as a high need school? We were assuming they're all high need schools. It turns out that in those demographic similarities, 85-85, some schools are really difficult to improve and other schools are not, and it doesn't just boil down to race and poverty. So what are some of the other variables that we need to look at that leaders need to understand? That's the business of our work today. And in fact, this particular issue has evolved to the status of a problem of practice that we'll look at, and it's deeply connected to McCormick priorities and also to Carnegie Foundation work in improvement science. So you're going to see an example today of a particular variety of continuous improvement. The person who has led this initiative from the start, and the person to whom all of the members of our networked improvement community turn, is Dr. Lisa Walker. We have some people here today from Chapin Hall, which has a real interest in these kinds of issues. Lisa herself came from Chapin Hall, and I'm going to ask Lisa to introduce the panel, and we're going to jump right into the panel today.
In assembling this group, we wanted to keep the focus on the leaders themselves and on leadership challenges of high-churn schools. Most of the leaders in this group have had experience leading high-churn schools and can speak directly to the challenges. Others bring particular kinds of expertise to the group. The data gathering the group engaged in was driven by their conversations and experiences together, including their discussions with the North Lawndale principals, some of whom are facing similar challenges. Much of the data analysis you see around you was motivated by their insights and questions. My function in the group is to be an analytic partner in my formal role as part of the hub that helps provide direction and continuity to the networked improvement community of school leaders. I help identify research and analyze data that bears on their questions and is responsive to their observations. The focus of this first phase of work has been on seeing the system. Why are high-churn schools so difficult to lead to improve student learning outcomes? Yes, this is the question they took on. You won't find an answer to that question in the literature at all. The panels will tell you how they answered it using improvement science tools and ideas, and where the group is now in their thinking about the problem.
Good morning, good morning. My name is Jackie Mooney. I'm the principal of Jose de Diego Community Academy in Humboldt Park. We are a high-churn, non-sustaining school, so as you've been walking around and you're taking a look at some of the data, I think that it's really important that my context fits in nicely to the work we're talking about this morning. So the big aim that we tried to look at was very simple, and you'll see it up on the fishbone to your left. High-churn schools are difficult to lead to improve school outcomes, right? So what does that mean, and how do we unpack that? We sort of divided into several categories as our areas of focus, and that developed into what we call a network scan. So how are we going to find literature and expertise to support these big ideas? Literacy leadership, families as partners, communities as partners, and leadership for equity and resilience. And that's a lot of the work that just came out of the conversations and the visits that we've had over the course of the last several months. And that's what developed into this fishbone that you see up here, and later on from another panel develops into a driver diagram, and then system improvement map. So a lot of thinking and talking and rewriting and reimagining some of what the common language then becomes around what makes leading high-churn schools very difficult.
Some of the people in this room were interviewed, for example, from CPS about their take on the problem. We interviewed folks from AUSL, their take on the problem, and so on. And the idea here is for us to learn as much as we can from the research, from expertise, and so on as we go forward. And the first stage of it is the group's representation of what the key causes or the big bones that cause the problem seem to be.